How can you convert leads for your business faster? If you're like most entrepreneurs, then you know that getting leads is just half the battle. The other half is actually converting the leads efficiently to buy into your business, buy your product or service, and become a happy customer or client that keeps coming back for more. So in this video, I'll walk you through how to convert leads faster and more efficiently in just 5 easy steps. Let's get started. So step number 1 is going to be getting a response from your leads. So there's a million different ways to generate leads, from referrals to advertisements to social media, from organic to paid and everything in between. And you could be going to shows, you could be speaking, whatever it is. You're going to have a list at some point of leads, and that's your first step. So if you don't have a list yet, then go check out one of my other videos on how to generate leads on Facebook or LinkedIn or through referrals that you can see in the description below. But assuming you have that list, now you've got to get a response. Now at this point, there's some mental warfare that starts happening with a lot of entrepreneurs. They feel like if they message people too much or send too many emails or give too many phone calls, that they're bothering somebody or killing a lead. So I'm going to debunk that for you. When a lead comes into your system, whether it's paid or organic, or they're interested, or somebody says they're interested, you can assume that they are interested and that you need to get them on the phone because they're likely going to book a meeting. Sometimes people just don't answer things because they're busy, they don't know who you are yet, or they don't understand the value, so therefore they put it on the back burner. And that's what you're trying to accomplish when you approach the leads to get a response. So my basic recommendation is to do the following things in your approach and then follow a 3-day follow-up process that I'll explain here in a second. So first, when you're approaching, you need to be clear and not beat around the bush. A lot of people say, "How are you doing?" and ask all of these elaborate different questions to sort of warm up the lead, and I want you to stop doing this if that's what you're doing. Instead, just be straight to the point. "Hey, I met you this way," or "Hey, I saw that you came in through, you clicked one of our paid ad links." Whatever it is, however you're connected, you say that, right? That's why you're connected. And then you can just give them some value. You look like somebody who would be a great fit for our business, whatever that business is. For us, we say, you look like somebody who might be looking to grow their business, or that's probably where they came from in the first place, right? And so we say, would you be open-minded to grabbing coffee or jumping on a Google Meet so we can get to know you and your business more to see if we might be able to help you grow your revenue? And when you say something, that last little piece there where it says, hey, would you be open-minded to a meeting where we can see if we can value? That's your basic template, and people will jump on board, they'll book a meeting with you, and that's where the selling can actually happen. That's how you should approach. Now, not every single person's going to respond to the first approach, like I mentioned before, so you need a second and third approach. This would be day 1, day 2, day 3. So day 1, I recommend following up as often as this. Add them on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever. Comment, like a post, and message them on social media. Give them a phone call, a text if they don't answer, and then shoot them an email at the end of the day to show that you're really serious about getting in contact with them. Repeat that process for days 2 and 3, and on day 3, you might even send them a kitchen sink email or text, which is basically selling yourself, having a couple paragraphs that sell what you do, some client testimonies, whatever, to try to get them to book a call with you. If you're not doing 3 days of follow-up, they might think you're a scam number, they may be blocking you unintentionally for whatever reason in your email, but if you just follow up that many times, you'll actually have people respond to you and have a chance to book meetings. If they respond and tell you no, at least you don't have to follow up anymore and you know where they're at. We used to call this sweep and clear when I was selling books door to door, and it was the best feeling ever to just not have to go back and try to reach out to somebody and feel like you're bothering them. Step number 2 here is actually getting the meeting. So in the first step, you're trying to just get someone to respond to you, but what happens if they don't just say, yes, I want to book a meeting? Now, you'll have a percentage of people do that, and this step is irrelevant. In that case, you just follow up, book a meeting. But in the case they ask you a question, they give you some sort of answer or whatever objection or question they may have, you need to add enough value that gets them intrigued to jump on a meeting, but not too much value to where they make a predetermined decision without all of the information that you might provide on the call. So there's limitless ways you can do this. One of them is create a video that explains the value of the process, or explains the overview, or explains something about what's going to happen on that meeting that's worth their time. So a couple years ago, I was looking at getting some podcast support before I got into podcasting and YouTube up to this point. And in that sales process, learning about what they did. And what was amazing is this guy sent me a Loom, a little video recording, where he actually went through my podcast page, which was like brand new, and he gave me some free feedback. And he said, if you want to learn more I'll go way more in depth with you on the call to show you how we would actually solve some of the problems I'm seeing here. And that got me super intrigued. I'm like, wow, I do agree with all these problems. I need to do this call. So you can do something like that where you do like a free little 30-second, it was like a 2-minute review. It took like no time, but it got me booked at the meeting. That's a great way to do it. You can send a free lead magnet. You can send a free guide. You can send a case study. You can send a testimonial video. All of these little pieces of information just to show that you can actually do what you're claiming that you can do in that first approach or whatever they responded to. But be sure that when you send something like, oh, hey, no worries, totally get it. Check out our website here. I'd love to schedule a time for you. Would this week or next week work? And just put that at the end, that call to action where it's called a choice of 2 positives, this week or next week. Either one you would be happy with. That's a choice of 2 positives. And with a choice of 2 positives, call to action, you'll get people to say, oh, next week would be good. And then you just need to ask, what's your best day? Morning, afternoon, pick a time. Get it booked in your schedule. So at this point, they've said they're coming to a meeting, you've got them to respond, and now you want to prepare them for the discovery session or the first meeting with step 3, an intro email, a form, and a calendar invite. I can't recall how many businesses I've worked with that they book meetings with people and they don't send Google Calendar invites. Every time that you book someone for a meeting, if you would like them to show up, you need to do all of the work for them. And that's what this Google Calendar invite is going to do. You grab their email, you create a Google Calendar event, it sends them the invite, you can put in the location, everything's figured out. You could have the meeting link if it's online, you can have the address if it's in person. Do that to solve the problem of where am I supposed to go? And it automatically pops up in their schedule, so they're going to see it and not double book your time, which is the most frustrating thing ever when you're trying to grow your business or make a sale. So you've got them booked in the calendar. Now you want to have an intro email. Okay, the intro email needs to have like about you, your mission, vision, values to really sell, to really communicate why you're doing what you're doing. Most people don't work with businesses that don't agree with their values. So make your values really clear. Yeah, you'll have some people who disagree. You probably wouldn't have enjoyed working with them anyway, but the people that agree are going to buy from you because they've seen that your values are in the same place. They're going to be much more interested when you're clear with your mission, vision, values. I would encourage you to include like testimonial videos, links to your website about the different teams that they might be working with. Of course, links to the pages that explain the value of your process or your service or product or whatever the heck it is that you're actually selling. The last thing you want on that intro email is a discovery form. Now, I see almost nobody using this, but I have every client I work with make a discovery form. In that discovery form, you're going to have questions that help you gather information to help you sell better. Whatever the reason is that people buy from you, imagine you knew that the person in front of you had that exact need and was telling you the story of why they wanted to work with you before you ever met with them. That's what a discovery form does, and a good one asks all the right questions so you know how to close the deal easier, simpler, and faster based on what the person actually needs in front of you. Before we jump into step number 4, if you're enjoying this video, please like, subscribe, and comment below with a topic that you might want me to cover on this channel. For example, this video is a high level of each of these stages, but maybe you need to get better at one of the stages I'm about to go over, or you need help understanding how to draft a really good intro email. Comment any of those things below, or anything that you're struggling with in general, and I'll create a video for you to help. Or if you're looking for more one-on-one help, just go to my website, knowledgegapconsulting.com, and click book a session, and we can have a conversation. All right, moving on to step number 4, the discovery session. Now, this would take forever to go through exactly how to lay this out, but the general idea is that you need to have a presentation presented that you go through the same way every time. You tailor it to the person in front of you, but it's really clear on the value proposition of what you're offering, whether it's a service or it's a product. People don't know what they don't know, and if you don't teach them how this is going to help solve their problem, right, then they're not going to buy from you. Everyone knows their problem, they don't know the solution. That's what you're doing as a salesperson. You're trying to help them with your business, right, solve problems for them. One of the most important things that you need to do here that most people don't, honestly, it's comical how many businesses I see that don't sell with visuals and they just verbally try to explain things to people and close that way. You're lowering your conversion rate by 20 to 30% simply by having no visuals. Have a PowerPoint, have a slide deck, have a pitch deck, have something printed if you're in person with your client to help walk them through and understand your process and your value. The biggest thing people are asking themselves after they've decided to trust you based on your mission, vision, values from your intro email and the way you present yourself, by the way, they're just asking the question, can you do what you say you're going to do? If they believe that you can follow through on the claims you are making, they'll buy. If they don't, they won't. Our final step number 5 is close on the next step in your sales cycle. So there's a million different sales cycles out there. Some people are going to be closing at this discovery session. At the end of the discovery sessions when you should close because the value will have been built. You can run through pricing, close on the transaction if it's transaction. If you're a more B2B or a longer sales cycle, you may have another meeting or 6 over 6 months. It just depends on what you're doing. But the goal here is, what is the next step for the person in front of you or the business in front of you? If they're ready to buy now, you close now. If they need more steps, you identify what those steps are. You say, listen, how are things looking for you? If we can do everything we just talked about, is that something you'd want to move forward with? And they're saying things like yes. You're like, perfect. Well, here's the next steps in our process. When can we schedule that next step? Awesome. Let me send you this. Maybe it's a contract. Maybe it's an invoice. You're like, perfect. Let me go ahead and just take payment. We'll ship everything to you. Whatever it is, you need to close on the next step and not leave it up in the air. Okay. If you're trying to schedule a meeting, schedule the meeting before you leave the call, before you leave the in-person meeting. Get it on the calendar and invite them to that event so everyone knows what the next step is. The reason this is so important is it creates a deadline in decision making for the other party. And that's what you need if you want to move forward with the sale. Well, hopefully this was helpful for you. If you enjoyed this video, again, please like, subscribe, comment with your thoughts below. We want to help you guys grow your businesses. And if you're looking to take your business to the next level, just go to knowledgegapconsulting.com, book a session with us, guys. You won't regret it, and we can help you grow your revenue.